for a Friday evening, a really, really big NBA slate. And I presume Bobby is going to be joining me shortly. Just put a little reminder on here. There it is. What's going on? I don't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Here we go.
You are. What's going on?
How you doing, man?
Small slate tonight?
Just a little baby one.
Yeah, small slate.
So my biggest take from what earlier is that I'm really convinced that there's going to be some other things that happen. Like,
oh no.
I really think so. Like, but they're easy things. Like, if Capella is out, you're playing Kongwu, and you probably want to mix in a little bit of John Collins too. But I just don't even think it's a question. You're playing a Kongwu, assuming that he starts if Capella's out. LeBron, I still think is a genuine questionable, and I still like Anthony Davis as a spend up, regardless. So I'm willing to take that gamble. And then if LeBron's in, maybe I divide up some lineups or something like that. But I think those are the main things that I'm sort of focused on. And I really think it's a conversation more about spend ups because there's a lot of value. There's another guy we didn't mention earlier that's getting a lot of run, and I don't know how real it is, but I mean, he's played well and they've been playing well consequently. So Detroit with Kevin Knox, which I never thought I'd be saying these words out loud. I think Kevin Knox is extremely in play as a tournament play. It just feels weird because there's all these other potential value things, and he doesn't show up high on the list and everything. But when he plays these mid 20 minutes, I mean, he's been putting up numbers. The problem is it seems to be somewhat 3-point shooting reliant. I don't know. So he's another one that I've added into the mix. But I really feel like there's this value that's out there. I really like Tari Eason. I really like Alvarado and Sexton. Man, I like, but I don't think this is like a must. I like the idea of putting Man and Coffee or Man and Powell or Coffee and Powell in like all of my lineups just because I can adjust if I need to. But I don't think this is like this insane value for us to get. Sheets. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so I didn't know about the Capella thing, so I guess I'll just have to watch that. When does that game start?
So that one is at sorry, 1 second. It's at 8.
Okay.
And it's only a question mark. It's a questionable. I mean, usually he plays through more of them than most people. It's really strange. It's questionable with dental pain.
That's so funny because the way so funny the way I read it said, hold on. I thought it said general pain when I first read it. Just due to general pain. Dental pain's rough.
Pain.
That's rough.
Yeah, it is.
I don't want to play with dental pain.
But part of why this is interesting to me is I think Capella, if he plays, is an unbelievable play. I think this could be like a 20 rebound game for him.
He's got dental pain going back into Houston. He's going to take it out on somebody, I think.
Exactly. And look at this guy's rebounding numbers. I mean, he's been below 10 one time in the last 12 games. He's 14, 12, 14, 10, 15, 20, 19, 10. You know what I mean? He's just always gets there. You add a little extra for going back to Houston. I think there's something that can be done here with Capella. So I actually like the idea of reserving a spot for Capella or a Kongwu and then having to adjust later. But it's really hard to play the mid-tier guys when you have what seems to be really good value with the Clippers. But I don't know. This Clippers team is very strange, and they don't have that many bodies, so it's really hard to imagine like two of them not getting there. But I'm just sort of that's sort of my general outlook is you play two Clippers and you can always adjust because that's the latest game. You play one of Eason or KJ Martin. I think that you spend up. My favorite spend ups are still they haven't changed much. I really like DeRozan in the mid-ish tier, high mid tier, and I really like Davis and I like I still like Campaign and all the Phoenix guys. I feel like are just getting completely overlooked, and I think this is a slate where you should be playing one of them. So I'll mix in some Campaign, I'll mix in some Ayton, and I will mix in Booker. And then I like your other ones, like on FanDuel. I'm playing. Actually, my FanDuel one I really like because you can spend up for a bunch of spots. But Shea, Ja Morant, DeRozan. I still like Clay tonight in the mid tier. I actually like Wiggins as well, and I like Valanciunas as a run back with Shea with the New Orleans Memphis game. I think you could see Valanciunas play more minutes tonight. I really think this could be a good spot for him. I like him better on FanDuel than I do on DraftKings, but that's what I'm doing. And it doesn't feel great because it's very easy to get to Jokic to not have more Jokic than I do, but I'm okay with it. I'm sort of willing to live with that one.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll have Jokic that you don't have. So one of us
That's
will be
good by me.
We'll be in good. We'll be in good shape. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Really wish Capella had power forward eligibility on FanDuel because at 0% owned Capella, going back to Houston, at a reasonable price tag, it's just I just can't quite get myself to click his name over Valanciunas on FanDuel and Nurkic at 61. But I mean, Capella is not even like if he gets extra minutes, like it's just he's gonna put up like 40 plus fantasy points, and that's like the low end. Like we've seen these 50s and 60s out of him before plenty of times. This is a perfect matchup, not just to mention going back to Houston, like these guys, they get their shots blocked, I think the third most in the league. They get the ball stolen, I think the most in the league, or second most in the league. It all just looks like they miss more shots. There's more rebounding opportunities. It's just everything looks like I know it's a weird play to have as a priority, and I don't think I've said his name basically this whole season, but I do like Capella, and if Capella's out, I like Okongwu.
I presume that Wendell Carter Jr. is out.
Wendell Carter Jr. is out.
Okay, no, I'm seeing Bamba show up on FanDuel. That's the only reason.
Yeah. So Bamba and FanDuel at 5,600 is definitely a good play. I still have him behind Joval, but I think
you know what? I'm actually playing the bigger one on FanDuel today. I think I'm just going to play Nurkic.
Nurkic, yeah. Nurkic and Joval are my guys. I just think I took Joval because of the lower ownership.
That is definitely true.
And I'll give it a shout out to Kobe for life, who's he follows us for NBA and everything, and he made a good point about. I've said this about Tobias Harris before. He does always play well going back to Orlando, but he actually put out the stats. I guess he's averaging 23 and 10 in his last 4 visits. I don't think I'm going to play Tobias Harris, but you eliminate all the normal guys, and Tobias Harris maybe having to play 40 minutes and take a bunch of shots. I could probably get to Tobias Harris if you wanted to get another weird play. I like DeRozan better, but I think that Tobias Harris is in play as well, more than I initially thought. And I'm still very into the Melton. I like Melton. I like Simons. There's plenty of guys I like. Simons is going to get low ownership tonight. Nurkic is going to have low ownership on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he'll have some ownership. And then, like you said, though, keep an eye out if Drew Eubanks is out, because that makes Nurkic an awesome play on both sides.
What do you think of on FanDuel specifically, Draymond at 5,800?
It's just the kind of play that I don't like. Draymond could always put it up. He's a FanDuel guy. This is a great kind of a game environment for him. But how often are you really going to feel bad about not having Draymond? Yeah. Like, the guy hasn't scored 40 fantasy points in a game this season. It feels kind of weird to just think he's such a great play, I like Wiggins. I actually like Wiggins better. Go ahead.
I'm trying to think of what to do at that position, though, at power forward.
So what I've got on FanDuel, just to go through it, is I've got Martin or Eason, and then I actually have Wiggins in one of my spots right now. I don't love that I have Wiggins and Clay both together, but because of the game environment, I think you can get away with it. I think that it's just playing Utah is again a little Coors Fieldy, and I just wanted to get some exposure to Clay, and Wiggins is like the guy who made the most sense to me at 6,500, and that's exactly what I had left. So I guess I went with it for that reason. I also think this is a really good Michael Porter Jr. trail, what's the word, troll spot. Yeah, it's really weird to me, but he plays better when Jokic plays. Like, oh wait, Jokic was ruled out. Oh, I'm sorry, Eubanks was ruled out. Oh, I did not have that. Okay, well that actually does change things. That makes Nurkic a really, really strong play. I'm just gonna make sure that there's nothing else that's gonna be getting in his way, because it's not like he can't play a ton of minutes. And the Knicks always play one big-ish. You know what I mean? Not like you have to guard them, but you'll have Hartenstein or Robinson out there, or Jericho Sims, and I just think Nurkic can beat those guys up down low. He's just too much stronger than they are. I really
Yeah.
like this idea of playing Nurkic now. I might have to switch my prioritization, because that's Eubanks playing well and playing off the bench is what sort of killed Nurkic's upside, and now without him, I think this is definitely a spot where you should have some Nurkic. Yeah, I think I'm going to make sure to do a little bit of that. And the cool thing about playing Nurkic is, like, even if he doesn't have the game that you all want him to have, he's not going to kill you. You know what I mean? He's going to get somewhere between 30 and 40. It's just, can he get those extra minutes and play 36 minutes and put up 50? And I think the answer is definitely possible. Did you happen to watch the U.S. England game today?
I did.
I thought it was a really. I thought England dominated the beginning. The U.S. dominated the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half, and and then we got somebody in chat talking about how the U.S. football team is surprising a lot of people. They should have won the Wales game easily. Just beat Iran, but they have a lot. They actually have young talent, which they haven't really had before. If they could find a real striker, it could be a really good team. Anyway,
well, they just need to beat Iran now, and then they advance.
Yeah. They have one of the best advancing percentages of any country. Isn't that weird? They almost always advance.
Who do you like at point guard on FanDuel?
So you just have a slew of good plays, right? I think I'm just spending up there. I like Ja and Shea quite a bit. I think that Shea at 10-6 might scare some people off. And you also have Trae Young, who I like. Prefer him on DraftKings in general. His fantasy production is just much better over there. Tyrese Halliburton, I think, is a strong play. And if you're going to play the Kyrie Irving thing, maybe you could do it on FanDuel, where you can get multiple other big spends in. So that's what I would say about that one, I guess.
Yeah.
What a shake over here. Yeah, large field, long shot play would be Westbrook on FanDuel. Campaign at 6,700. I like that price.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good plays at point guard, but I like the idea of, okay, I'll just try to win by taking the two guys who I think will score the most fantasy points. So sounds really basic, and that's Shea and Ja Morant for me.
I think he's going to be popular due to his price, but Zach LaVine at 6,900 on FanDuel is appealing.
Yep, agree, and it's a perfect run back for Shea.
Yeah.
Although I'm very into what DeRozan's been doing, this usage stuff. He goes through these like tears where he looks like the best player in basketball, and he's on a little bit of a mini version of that, and maybe catching him at the beginning of that. So I'm running DeRozan against on the other side more than I am currently with LaVine. But you see DeRozan with 30 plus usage, 30 plus usage against OKC team that doesn't defend and plays at a pretty good pace. I'm really, really like that quite a bit, actually. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. But I'm good with the LaVine thing too. And the interesting thing is, like, the LaVine DeRozan, it seems like LaVine and DeRozan, people always say, oh, they shouldn't be separated by so much and all this stuff. I don't know, man. DeRozan, when he gets going, he's 50, 60. LaVine, if he gets hot, can get up there, but I'm sort of a little bit more into the DeRozan side of things than LaVine today, personally.
Yeah.
Other ones I've got right now on DraftKings, I've got 70% Tari Eason, 65% Jason Tatum, 60% Sexton, 60% Alvarado, 100% Powell. A ton of campaign, and I just, it feels weird with the price, but why can't he put up 50 fantasy points here? Like, I think he totally could. So I'm actually, I don't know. It feels weird, but I'm guess I'm gonna do it.
So this the Tyrese Eason play? Does he play for Houston?
Yeah.
Okay, just a little something.
Tyrese.
I don't know if you knew this or if it matters to you at all, but apparently Bruno Fernando is practicing again and might be playing tonight. I don't know if that affects anything.
Well, I think we get to know from the starting lineup, right?
Yeah.
Because probably they play Fernando. I mean, he started when he was playing.
Okay.
So that's what I guess.
And if in fact he starts, does that reduce your interest in Eason?
Not if Eason starts as well. And actually, I would even go so far as to I probably would take shots on Eason. He hasn't really played, doesn't play minutes, but this guy's fantasy production per minute is absurd.
Who?
Eason.
Eason. Okay.
It's like I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's somewhere it's like elite level, like top shelf level. I mean, he put up 37 in 22 minutes in the last game he played. He's more than a fantasy point per minute by a lot. In a lot of games, played 21 minutes against Toronto, put up 38. Played 23 minutes against Minnesota, put up 30. He just has a lot of 18 minutes against Utah, 27. So if he's going to play, if I think he's going to play 24 minutes, which will depend a little bit on the starting lineup, I think that's a pretty good play no matter what. You should be expecting somewhere around 28 if he plays 24 minutes, in my opinion. So that's pretty much where I'm at. What are you guys doing? What's the post Thanksgiving for you? What do you guys do over there at the Sheets household?
No, nothing really. We're going out for a really nice omakase tomorrow in the city. So nice. Today we're going to take it maybe a little easy.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at as well. All right. What else is there that we haven't? I am surprised that Nurkic's numbers haven't really changed much. I'm just going to double check one more time.
Yeah, I haven't done enough. I mean, I'm getting him on. I'm playing
on FanDuel
in the big lineup on FanDuel. That's all, you know.
Yeah, I think I might I think I might have to give up my cool play of Joval and play him just because it's really I think it's a huge boost for him. It's weird though because he's going to be popular on FanDuel and he's not being played on DraftKings. I don't think at 6,800, and it's really not that much of a difference.
We've seen that movie before, you know.
Right. So shouldn't we like my idea is maybe you flip it and you just play him on DraftKings. Yeah. I like this question from Remo. Any love for John Wall or Clay on DK? Clay, yes. I think if you play John Wall, you're doing something wrong. I love John. I think John Wall has actually been really good. They've made it very clear they're not going to give him like 30 minutes. They just don't do it. So sure, there will be some time where that breaks, but as of right now, I don't think I can get to John Wall on this kind of a slate. That just seems very, very fishy to me. I like the idea of having guys in the last game, though.
Yeah. Well, if I was going to build a big lineup in the NBA, I wasn't going to play the big one in the DraftKings, but maybe I'll change my mind. Let me see what looks good over there. I mean, I would play Alvarado. I'm kind of talking this through.
On FanDuel?
No, I'm doing DraftKings.
On DraftKings. Oh yeah.
I wasn't going to play the big one there, but I changed my mind. So if I play Alvarado, that's like the easy play, I guess. Yeah, I'm looking at the ownership here. So we don't know about LeBron yet.
No.
I guess Shea would be a good play because first of all, he's only, if you're going to play Alvarado, you got to use that other guard position for him. So maybe he won't be as owned possible. And then you could play, like you said, DeRozan is small forward eligible.
Yep.
And that makes some sense.
Yep. On FanDuel, the difference between DraftKings and FanDuel is real quick. I definitely like I like Sexton more than I like Alvarado on FanDuel. I don't think that's anything, amazing. But yeah, that's what I've got right now. I think I'm gonna have to try and fit Nurkic in, to be honest with you. If you play Nurkic, like you could load up your center with Nurkic, Capella at that same price thing, and then use the other values, and then get two big time spend ups. I think it's really reasonable. Yeah, the Watford question. I think we're just reaching. Like that just seems like the reachiest of reach kind of plays.
The reachiest of the reach.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, that's where I've got it. I think it seems a little fishy to me. Watford had those games where we had no Nurkic and he played 20 minutes. Even then, he only hit 20 fantasy points once. He is cheap, but there's like a lot of other value that I would rather wait on. I'd rather play Coffee in his 74 minutes that he plays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something's got to happen in those minutes. Like even just by being on the court, it's really hard not to do anything.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to play the big one because the lineup just built itself. So
yeah,
when it builds itself, I'm just gonna have to play it.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. I might end up swapping later. Whatever this. Not to say I necessarily have anybody from the Clippers, but just in case, I might have somebody from the Clippers and Utah. I might leave myself a little room to do something with that. If I change my mind.
Sheets, can I ask you about one of your guys here? I think this is I think Quentin Grimes belongs in this conversation of value.
Oh no.
He's played 32 and 33 minutes the last two games.
Yeah, I know.
3,500 and starting.
Reddish is out.
Yeah, Reddish is out. He's starting or projected to start.
Sure.
Yeah.
How about the Booker play?
Yeah, I think it's really I like it. I like the upside for Booker.
Who do they play?
They play Phoenix. They play Detroit. What's it called?
Detroit.
Oh yeah, sorry, Detroit.
I'm on it.
Little worried about. Always worried with Detroit games getting out of hand. But the last two times I said it, Detroit won the games, so can't worry, I guess, too much. But yeah, Booker.
Anybody from Detroit or no?
Well, Knox is my sneaky play, but that probably turns into Quentin Grimes. I don't really like anybody, to be honest with you. Bagley would be the one I would be the most inclined to play, just because we know the past upside, but I just think Jalen Duran and him are like basically splitting minutes. So Duran's actually played the majority of the minutes in most of the games lately.
Do you think it's Clay time?
I think so. But I also think that it's like there's so many other good plays. I don't think that he like eclipses them. I just think, yeah, like I don't know. Oh, Paolo question. I'm not playing Paolo at 8,600 in this game, but probably not the right time to do it after coming out the injury. But I think he's like, I don't think 8,600 is like an absurd number for him. But I am a little worried about his ankle and see how he returns. I also think it's a big downgrade for like Bamba and other guys because they just have flexibility with their lineup, and you have a team that doesn't really play big in Philly,
right?
So you can kind of like mix and match, and you'll see some Admiral Schofield and things like that. He played 21 minutes in the last game. I'm not as high on Bamba tonight as maybe others are.
Yeah, I don't. Bamba always doesn't do it for me for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, it's always upside, but like, I guess at what cost? I don't know. It's just a loaded position now, and to pay the same for him on DK it'd be the same for him, and even on FanDuel where he's 56, like I think I'd rather just play Joe Val if I'm going to spend exactly 56. So I'm going to live on Anthony Davis Island here.
Well, why
in a
not? Right.
weird way, almost hoping LeBron plays, like just
Right.
because
Right.
there will be people who can shift over to Davis easily, and it'll just be like an overshift to him. But like his projection, I think, is a little bit offensive. Like he shouldn't be projected to score 47 fantasy points. He should be well into the 50s. I mean, you got LeBron showing up with higher ownership than Davis, and I don't know how that works. And I think that there's a really a reasonable chance that LeBron doesn't play still, but he's been projected in the starting lineup like 4 games in a row and has not played in any of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I gotta rethink this Quentin Grimes thing. It's driving me a little nuts. It just feels wrong. Like the Clippers need usage. They have all this. It's like, how am I supposed to play him over Mann and Powell? If Tari
Yeah.
Eason starts, how do you play him over Tari Eason? In my opinion, I just feel like all those guys are better plays. Alvarado, yeah, it's really like who, you know what I mean? I love Alvarado because he doesn't have to do like he just has to play his normal game and he's going to put up 25 fantasy points. Like it's just, and in this kind of an environment, he could get 40. Like he doesn't need to. Doesn't need to shoot. Doesn't need to do anything. You're not relying on anything. He's going to always get a couple steals. He's always going to get some assists. He's going to get some rebounds, and anything else is a bonus. All right, what else have we got here? Guys, for what it's worth, if you check out the Discord, I did post my early NFL picks for Sunday, my early lineup builds. I think it's actually a really good tournament slate on Sunday for NFL, which
Yeah.
I didn't think until
You see the news came out that Mostert was out.
Yeah, it's going to be Jeff Wilson, like 50% owned.
Jeff Wilson season, and another guy like that was out. Now I forget who it is. Somebody else was doubtful. Now I forget who it was.
Yeah, I can't remember on top of my head, but I definitely adjusted for those things.
And I wonder if what's his name? Is there any news on Mixon?
He's out.
And there you have it.
Yeah, so P. Ryan and Wilson are totally reasonable.
Well,
I really like the Cincinnati passing game.
Well, and the other one though, in the not Lamont Murray, yeah, and Latavius Murray, right?
Latavius Murray is the one I'm least excited about, but I do have some of him as well.
I mean, I think all 3 of those, right? So it's Jeff Wilson,
yeah,
Samaje Perine,
yep.
and
yep,
yeah,
and Murray, and to mix it up even further, I think that the price is low enough on help me out, Antonio Gibson, where he should be in the mix as well. He had 18 carries last week.
Yeah,
he's 5,400. You know,
I think all 3.
That's what's weird to me. Go ahead, Cheats.
But I don't play cash, but those 3 running backs are going to be in all the lineups. I think.
Yeah,
I think Murray, Perine, and Wilson are going to be. That's going to be what it's going to be.
And you can make, and the guys I would say to get off of those guys would be Gibson and Foreman.
Yeah, but what happens to the good plays? What about Eckler and Kenneth Walker? I mean, those are great plays.
Absolutely, I totally agree. It just depends on
they're only 3 running back spots. So who loses?
So I'm not playing all 3 of those guys everywhere, and what I'm doing is so I like Deontay Foreman a little bit. He's a pivot off of those guys, but that if you don't play him, you can play DJ Moore at 5K or whatever. If you don't want to play the Latavius Murray, there's so many bus paths for Latavius Murray here. Like he doesn't have to get even 10 fantasy points. So he's lower on my list than maybe.
So my point is then the build is actually going to be more like Walker, Perine, and
right.
Jeff.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But I like Derrick Henry. Partly because I'm just obsessed with that game. I think that's a really yes, Tennessee's defense is statistically been very good. They get burned through the air still quite a bit, and you take no Mixon in there, and you have a pass catching back now with Burrow. If they're gonna it's gonna be Derrick Henry hopefully breaks the long one early on, and then you get the Burrow just going nuts all game.
Okay, so following up on our conversation about the Kansas City guys. So Juju is in, so at least it's not all 3K guys, but the aforementioned just disease of Kadarius Toney, he's out. Okay, so it's still one of those 3K guys is going to be in good shape because MVS at 4K will be the two, right? And then either Sky Moore or Justin Watson are criminally underpriced. So I guess if I had to guess, I would say Sky Moore is probably the odd man out.
I like Sky Moore a little more than Watson, but I
do you? Interesting.
Yeah, it's close for me, but I like him a little bit better.
Okay, I mean, I play them both in late slate stuff and showdown, obviously, but yeah, so those guys are going to be in play. Who else was out? No, I gotta figure this out. I'll see when the projections come.
But you want to know if you're going to get off Jeff Wilson, I would suggest you play the Miami passing game, which shouldn't be that bad of a thing anyway. Well, the easiest way to get off of Jeff Wilson chalk, like just play Tua with Waddle. You could play. You could get to it this week. You could play Waddle and Tyreek, but or you could throw Gesicki in a tight end. Any of those are totally good by me.
Can't actually play them all without being it's tough to play them all.
But no, you take one of the cheap Kansas City receivers. You play Wilson from what's it called? Wilson from the Jets, Garrett Wilson.
Oh, back to him. Right. Well, I'm just saying, I'm putting in a lineup with Walker, Perrine, and Wilson, Jeff Wilson.
Yeah,
and as the three running backs, and then I'm going Tua, Hill, Waddle, and I only got 2,800 guy left with three guys.
Yeah, I just don't have those running backs locked like you do. I guess that's the only difference.
Oh, okay.
I'm not using a running back necessarily in the flex this week. I'm happy to use to gamble on one of the cheap receivers.
Okay,
I guess that's the only difference.
Well, that'll make sense then.
Yeah, and I want to touch on Brian Brooks's question because it's a good one, and maybe to elaborate. He wants me to elaborate why I like AD even if LeBron is in, and my reasoning is there's a number of reasons. So one, I love this matchup for AD. I think this is a perfect type of matchup for AD to have a monster game, and I don't think what's happening is a coincidence. This is the best he's looked in years, like literally since they won the title. This is the best he's looked. His aggressiveness, and even if LeBron comes back, why are they going to stop feeding a guy who they've actually won games recently, which they haven't done with LeBron? They're 3-3 without LeBron. They're 2-7 with him, 2-8 with him. I don't know what it is. I don't see why they would change it. And the other thing is that I don't think LeBron takes away enough of AD's rebounds. And that's what I'm sort of clinging on to. AD is getting, over the last 5 games, he's what is he averaging? 18 a game. That's something that doesn't go away. I also love the steal and block upside in this matchup. So, and I love the low ownership, to be honest with you. That's another reason that I'm factoring in, because some of the other guys who are expensive, like you look at the highest projected point scores. That's one other thing I want to add. I think that AD should have a median the same as about right where Jokic is today, and I think it should be slightly lower than Tatum. But I really think that's a reason. Unless AD gets hurt, I just think he's putting up 55 to 75. I really do, even if LeBron plays. And yeah, I just think they're going to run offense through him. He's been good. He's been efficient. And what's crazy is that even with these games, he hasn't hit his full ceiling because he had, what did he have? He had 60, the blowout win against San Antonio. He had 64 fantasy points in 27 minutes. He did play 38 in that Phoenix game where they were trying to play that he put up 84. I don't need 84 from him. I need 70 or 65. And I think that's very, 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 very doable, even if LeBron plays. You look at the field goal attempts, and honestly, they haven't increased it. There's only one game they've increased without LeBron, and that was against Brooklyn. Other than that, his field goal attempts are literally the exact same that they were when LeBron was playing. So you're only really taking away scoring. So perception is really what's dictating it. Now, what is different is the free throw attempts, but that to me is more about AD's mindset. This guy took 16 free throws in the last game. 2 games before that, he took 21 free throws. He took 21 free throws. I just think that the aggressive level is bumped up. The Lakers have a little bit more of an identity, and it's run it through AD. That's what I think the game plan is. I don't think LeBron comes back and it's the LeBron show. I think it's AD. It's my take.
I
could be wrong, but that's where I'm going.
I have one more football thing for you.
Yeah.
Now this is like kind of an interesting observation. So like, if you want like a real dirty team like to play, we like to play teams that sometimes that have they're big underdogs so that they can they'll be coming back and having to pass. So I was thinking about some of these Rams guys, whether it be Allen Robinson or Skornek or Higbee or whatever it is, and there's an interesting little dynamic that's going to make all of those guys really low owned if they weren't going to be already.
There's no way they're owned. Yeah.
But even so, like even if they were going to be owned a little bit, they'd be owned even less because what people do, they're going to check off that, do not play offense against your defenses or whatever. And Kansas City is going to be like 40% owned the defense. So
which by the way is always a terrible button to check. I totally agree with you. And don't you agree, Sheets, that you should never check that? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Why you would not play a receiver against a defense? Yeah. Right.
And so the point is that people, that's automatically by default happening. Casey's going to be 1,000,000% owned. So everybody on the Rams receiving, even if they looked okay, you know what I mean? They're just not going to make it into all these computer builds. Like they're just never going to make it in there.
Yeah. For what it's worth, I think Higbee is the best play of all of them. He'll get the most targets, in my opinion, and I think that Van Jefferson would be the next one I would play.
Yeah, and do me a favor, seriously, and we'll talk about the Sunday. Please don't. I really encourage people to not play Kansas City defense. I mean, playing super chalk defense is always, not always, but it's usually a recipe for disaster in GPPs. You want to go play it in cash? Go ahead. Play it in cash. Play KC. If you play KC defense, the aforementioned running backs, 2 of those 3, I mean, yes, that's going to be a really, really nice cash start. And then you could probably play Mahomes naked if you want. You know what I mean? Like in cash, that'll work too. But in GPPs, I would not go anywhere near 25% on defense.
I know they're going to be popular. It's really hard for me to see how the Rams do anything at all.
But that doesn't matter. They don't have to do anything. I mean, you know what I mean? Like if they do nothing, they just don't throw a pick 6. Kansas City bust.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's pretty much it.
Well, I mean, I think there's a non-zero chance that the Rams could score like 3 points. It's really on the board without Stafford. But I hear you. And if you want the pivot defense to me is Arizona, because they're 100 cheaper. That's what you can do. Right. But I unfortunately have a little too much of the Chiefs. I agree with the point, but I really.
Oh, that was the other thing. Is that Kyler Murray's playing? That's what I forgot.
Kyler Murray's playing, and I like about the Cardinals though. Just to throw it out there real quick as a defense, I just think that first of all that that they're right in that same price tier, so everybody's gonna play the Chiefs, but this is a defense that can actually score points. Like they have a talented defense. They've actually scored 5 defensive touchdowns this season, which is worth noting. And one thing about Herbert, as much as I love him, the guy is definitely willing to throw it up. Like he doesn't care, man. He doesn't care if you're gonna sort of the Josh Allen thing.
Wait. Excuse me. I remembered the guy who's out. It's a big deal because it's another different chalk running back. Leonard Fournette is out.
Yes, Fournette. That is another big one. Yes, you got it.
Yeah, making Rachaad White equally, if not more so, owned than all these others. So we'll have to look at all of that.
I'd be careful.
I knew there was something. I wasn't hallucinating.
Yeah. I'm a little cautious about that one, just because I think that Tampa Bay can throw the ball like crazy, and they throw the ball more than any team in football. So
they can, but all I see is his last game 22 for 105 for Mr. Rachaad White. It's like
no, you're right. That's fair enough, and it's a good running back matchup.
But you're right too. Tampa is one of the top teams as far as the passing plays over expectations. So
100%. I think that every game but like one this season, they've thrown the ball more than they were projected to. All right, I'm gonna get out and finish building my basketball stuff. Is there anything else, Sheets, we should touch on?
No, everybody have a good weekend, and I will see you guys Sunday at 11.
Sunday at 11. Have a good one, man.
All right,